to use. I also wanted to mention Journalist Toolbox. It has a mobile resources page on it, mobile reporting tools resource page, journalisttoolbox.org. It's housed at the Society of Professional Journalists website since late 2007. It's a site that I update twice a week for them. I founded this site 20 years ago. It's all things journalism. You can find things in here on drones, data visualization, copy editing, all kinds of different beats covering science, covering global issues. The most popular page, of course, is the public records page, which I would highly recommend bookmarking. And we also have the mobile page right down here. And I'm tweeting the link out to the mobile page as well. And it's just got a lot of resources for working with mobile tools, links to different types of apps, all kinds of different checklists and things, the 100 best iPhone apps of all time, things like that. So again, journalisttoolbox.org. You can also access it on the front of spj.org's website. I just want to put in a little plug for my Twitter handle. It's at Journ Toolbox, Journ Toolbox. And I'm tweeting a bunch of things there today for our mobile seminar. And the hashtag I'm using is SPJ Mobile. And there's all kinds of different links and resources and tools that I'm tweeting over the next hour to that hashtag. So when you're done today, you can just go back and look through that hashtag and bookmark any of the tools or resources that I'm mentioning here. One of those pages I'm sharing is this one. It's off of a training website that I have, and it has today's Prezi at the very top. You can see this little Prezi link there. So our presentation, you can download it and share it as a PDF in your own newsroom, put it up on your intranet, something like that if you want to share it with your newsroom or your staff. As you go down the list too, there's a list of all the apps that I'm going to talk about in the presentation today, just so you have the names of them. A lot of them are iOS apps, but a lot of them do carry over to Android as well, or Android has an app that's very, very close to it. So this is an important page, just after the training, just make sure you have this page. I'm tweeting it out a couple of times over the next hour. So the housekeeping items are done here. I'm going to jump into the presentation now, and this is a Prezi. Again, my Twitter handle is at Journ Toolbox. Our hashtag for the day is #SPJ Mobile, all one word. So we'll jump in right now. We've got a few tools to show you, and then we'll carve out a little bit of time, I think, to play with them and do some things with them. And you can share some of the things that you're recording or documenting to that SPJ Mobile hashtag, or also tweet it at Journ Toolbox, and I'll make sure to share it, if you're using it over the next few days on an assignment or something. And these are very popular tools. I go around and do a lot of trainings in newsrooms with these tools as well, and they're very popular, and people wind up using them quite a bit on assignments. If we have some time a little later in the session, I'll show you some examples of how you can use them too, or how we've used them in the past. So right now, I just want to jump in and show you guys some of the tools. The first one is a mobile app called Storyline. Storyline is an app for iOS devices. It's created by a company called Archiver, which builds some really cool apps. And what you can do with this app is create audio slideshows right on your phone by pulling photos right out of your camera roll, photos that you've already shot. You don't have to shoot them in the app, which is really cool. And what you do is you just go through and you can tap on anywhere from 1 to 20 photos that you want to have in your slideshow, hit a record button, and then you can narrate your slideshow right into your phone's microphone. And as you're narrating, you can sit there and swipe through the photos at the certain time that you want the photo to show up as you're narrating. Another way to do it, and this one became quite popular among some student reporters that I was working with recently, was to record just one photo, shoot a photo, a mugshot of a person, and then have them narrate the photo or photos if it's a slideshow by hitting the record button and holding the phone out and having them talk for it. It was real popular on election day. We used it quite a bit, and also during some of the election primaries. We were doing one down in Arizona. I used to teach at Arizona State. And what we did was took some of the students and sent them out to interview people. Who did you vote for and why today during the primaries? We were also having some issues with really long lines. People are standing in line 4 or 5 hours on election or during the primaries in Arizona. So the students would shoot a picture of the person and then record a short interview with them right in the app, and then they would send it out just as a single headshot with the person's interview attached to it. And what's really nice about this app is you can share it right over your social media channels right out of the app. You can also take them and embed them into a web page. So you can have a little video slideshow or photo video slideshow right into your embedded right into your web page. And again, I'll show you some examples of how we've done this recently with some reporters. It might, kind of stir your motivation to use it a little bit. It's a really underrated app. I think you can do some really cool storytelling with it. So Storyline, great for creating audio slideshows. Some more apps you can use, and these are important for social media, is you can take the Over app or the Adobe Spark Post app or Adobe Post app, and you can bring in a photo off your camera roll into the app. Over is an older app. It's been around for about 5 or 6 years now, whereas Adobe Spark Post has been around just for a couple of years, but they do pretty much the same thing. You can bring a photo in out of your camera roll and layer text over it. Just much like you would layer it in Photoshop, create a layer and put the text over the top of it. Here it just gives you a selection of different types of fonts and different colors of that you can make the text. It's good for just doing like real simple storytelling. A good example, I see some sports writers use this one of these two apps sometimes when they're covering a sports event, let's say a basketball game. They'll get a photo of maybe the students storming the court at the end of the college basketball game, and then they'll load it into the Over app, tap the app, the photo one time, and layer the final score of the game over the top of it. Notre Dame 63, Duke 60, or whatever. And it's a real quick and dirty way to create a simple graphic and share it over social media within just a matter of seconds. So shoot the picture, load it into Over Adobe Spark page, and layer your text over it. We also did it off a sporting event, the Chicago Marathon, a few years ago. We had a shot of the winner of the race as he's crossing the finish line, and we put the winning time, his name and country and winning time, right at the bottom of the photo, and it was really, really cool. So Over, which is kind of an oldie but a goodie, it's been around for a while, and Adobe Spark Post will do the same. Adobe Spark Page is another app, both an app and a desktop version, that you can create little kind of vertical slideshows in of photos. You can take 5, 7 photos and stack them on top of each other, add in text, cut line, or a little short piece of writing in between. It's good. Works kind of like a mini Tumblr to tell stories visually. Very easy to share over social media. Again, that's Adobe Spark Page, and that's a series of 3 or 4 photos kind of stacked on top of each other, and the person will scroll through them. Whereas if you just want one image, the Over app is a good option, or Adobe Spark Post. And it's really important, I think, to attach photos and graphics to social media. It's an expectation now as people are scrolling through their feeds on social channels to see that graphic there. In fact, a tweet is 10 times more likely to be shared if it has a photo or a video attached to it. In this case, a photo with some text on it, which is even better. A good example of that I saw recently, or not all that recently, but within the last year, was this one. It was actually created in Photoshop because it has CNN's watermark on it. But if you notice, Twitter only gives us 140 characters. So we can't do a lot of writing in there and really list a lot of facts. So what CNN did here was in the tweet, they just wrote what we know about the San Bernardino shooting. Stay with us for updates, and then a link to their update page. And they let the storytelling happen in the graphic, the little image. And you could create this pretty easily in the Over or the Adobe Post app. Is just put a little headline on there, what we know as of 6 p.m., and then just a bullet point list of facts. And this would be way too many characters to be able to squeeze into a simple tweet. But with this, you can have smaller font sizes and add in a lot more information and make it visual at the same time. And this tweet came out several times throughout the afternoon and evening as this story began to develop. And again, it teased not only the updates, but at the end, it had kind of the summary of all the facts in the checklist and a link to the final version of their story for that night. So text cards on tweets and other social platforms, Instagram, and so on, Facebook, are very, very, very helpful. And that Over and Adobe Post app are a really good way to build those. Another good app for doing something similar to what we talked about with Over and Adobe Post is the Ripple app, RIPL. This is another iOS only app. And what it will do is also create text layered over a photo, but it animates it. So it will sweep in from the side or drop down from the top. And there are several different templates you can choose from. It's a free app, but it does have a paid version that allows you to set the Ripple to different types of music, and it gives you more selections on templates, but really the free ones work well. And I've seen this one popping up more and more now among social media editors who are sharing content over their mobile phones for a publication. It's a real good way to get a quick and dirty list of information in and animate it, which I think really helps as people are scrolling through their Twitter feed. If they see a ripple, some motion on the screen with the text sliding in, it tends to catch their eye a little bit better than maybe just a static graphic. So Ripple's a really cool one, really easy to use. You just select your photo out of the camera roll, select what template you want to put it in, and then if you want to set it to music, you can, or you just type on the screen, and you can adjust the fonts and things like that. So another app, much like Storyline, that I think has kind of gone unnoticed. I'm not going to spend a lot of time today talking about like Instagram and Snapchat and some of the and Twitter, some of the more prominent phone apps. These are reporting apps that maybe you haven't seen before, and Ripple's one of those that's kind of just floating right under the radar right now. And people are starting to use it. I'm seeing it more and more in social media posts in media. It's also quite popular among realtors. They share a lot of information about their houses real quickly by using the Over app and the Ripple app. So a couple pretty good tools there for social. I did want to mention Periscope real quickly. It's a great little live streaming tool if you're not using Facebook Live. Periscope's been around now for almost a couple of years, and they've really kind of cornered the market on non-Facebook Live live video streaming. Really great if you're covering a press conference, if it's a big breaking news story. If you're going to the scene of a fire or something like that and need to just document some video real quickly and share it. It's now archivable, which is really nice. And coming soon in Periscope, it's in beta right now. But if you have an Insta360 camera that plugs into your phone, they retail for about $100. You'll be able to plug that little Insta360 camera right into your phone and record and broadcast live 360 video. And I'm holding up the little Insta360 camera here. It just slides in right into the end of your iPhone or Android. They make them for Android too. And you can record your 360 video live and live stream it. There's no idea when that's coming to full Periscope, but it is in beta right now. And I know a few newsrooms that are experimenting with it. It's really cool to be able to live stream 360 video over your phone. So Periscope, again, use this for breaking news stories, whether you're out in the field. It's great for press conferences. I was teaching at Arizona State, and Periscope had just come out. It was 10 days old. And we had students take it over and cover the live press conference for the hiring of their new basketball coach, Bobby Hurley. And it was really nice. It got a lot of likes, a lot of shares. People really got into it too. So Periscope, again, it's been around for a little while, but I just want to remind people of it. If you're not going with Facebook Live, you're media outlet may have a very vibrant Facebook page and you want to share it only over your Facebook account. Periscope's really nice because you can share it over any social media channel, really. That's one of the advantages, I think, of having Periscope. Bubbly, which has quickly become a favorite among a lot of the people I've done this training with. The Bubbly app, I believe it's Bubble, B-U-B-B-L, if you're on an Android, but it's Bubbly for the iOS apps. Bubbly will allow you to create 360-degree photo bubbles right on your phone and then share them over social media. And if you open it up on your desktop, you can grab embed code and embed the photo bubbles right into the page. And I'll show you some really cool examples in a little bit when we're done with the presentation of really cool photo bubbles you can build. What's interesting about this technology is this is now a free app on your phone. 20 years ago, you could create photo bubbles. In fact, we did it when I was working at the Chicago Tribune. We did photo bubbles of the inside of the United Center. This is back when the Chicago Bulls were actually good and Michael Jordan was playing there. And we did photo bubbles of what's it like to sit on the end of the Bulls bench during a game, or what's it like to sit in a courtside seat, or what does it look like in the locker room from Michael Jordan's locker? What's the perspective that he has? And so we shot all these photo bubbles with a camera that cost about $10,000. And $2,000 it took in stitching software to put the photo bubbles together. Now, 20 years later, this technology is available as a free app on your phone. So photo bubbles are nothing new, but they're a really kind of cool, take you there type of technology. And another cool thing about the Bubbly app is it allows you to shoot the photo bubble horizontally with your phone. So I'm holding up my phone right now, and all you do with it is you kind of paint the scene around you and do a pirouette. You do a 360-degree spin, and you just kind of move your camera up and down. And the app kind of coaches you through it, which is really cool. It tells you if you're going too fast. It tells you what percentage of the screen you've captured. And this is an app that if you're going to use it, go out and practice with it. Like this weekend, if you're out at the park or something with your kids, or you're traveling somewhere interesting, just stop and do one of these bubbles. It takes a little while just to get the hang of kind of sweeping the camera up and down and tilting it up and down and kind of painting with it. And this video I'm going to show you right now kind of shows you how to paint with the app and capture the surroundings around you. And this is a guy standing out on a fire escape outside of his apartment, and he's shooting in 360. So we'll see if we can get this video to play here. Okay, so you hit the little red button. He's holding it horizontally. He hits the little red button on the side to record. Notice how it gives you a percentage at the bottom of the screen. And all he's doing here is moving his camera up and down, kind of sweeping up and down. And he's kind of filling in all those areas that are white with what's around him. He sees this right in his viewfinder. Notice the percentage gives you what percentage of the screen that you've painted so far. You can keep going over. It'll start to stitch this together as a little photo bubble, much like you may see 360 photos you might shoot with Google Street View or another recording app, Google Cardboard or one of those. Notice how it shows 100% when he's filled it in at the end. Then you can click Save and then Publish up in the corner, and you'll have a nice little photo bubble that you can share over social media right away, and people can swipe around on their phones with it and do the 360 spin. Or you can embed it into a web page if you pull it off the Bubbly website page. When you go in and click on the link, you'll see it. And once you're in there, you can embed it in your page, and you have a nice little photo bubble that's on your website then. And you can take and use your cursor to spin around on it and slide back and forth, which is really kind of a cool thing. So that was Bubbly, U-B-B-L-I. Another popular tool is Hyperlapse. Hyperlapse is created by Instagram, and I think it is one of the best time-lapse video recording tools out there. It works seamlessly with Instagram. So the minute you record your time-lapse video and you want to move it right over into Instagram, it'll do that for you. And then, of course, you can share it over Twitter, Facebook, etc. out of your Instagram account. Now there are other hyperlapse is iOS only, but if you're on a Android phone, it has several other apps that are just like it. Lapse It, Time Lapse, or Frame Lapse work just as well. Those are also very good ones. They're not tied into Instagram, but you can share them over your social media channels. And time-lapse videos are a really fun way to tell stories to complement storytelling. I think it's often overlooked, the potential of these. You could do it if you're moving, you're on a moving train or something like that, and you need to record something. I've had students record them off of bicycles, skateboards. I've had colleagues do crowds moving through a certain area, and they speed it up in time lapse. It's also a good way to record traffic that's passing through a certain area, and you've got an overhead view of it. We did this with one of the busiest intersections in Chicago, the 290 and 90 freeways that meet just south of downtown. We had some students shoot off a building and record time-lapse video of how the traffic moves through during the day and then at rush hour. Another good use of hyperlapse, and we did this one again during elections, during the primaries. We had really long lines down in Arizona and Phoenix for election day, 5 hour long lines. So we sent the students down with their time lapse apps on their cameras, and they walked the line. They started at the front door and walked the whole line to the very end and recorded the video. It took them about 4 or 5 minutes. And then they went into hyperlapse and sped it up. And so you could actually watch the video in about 45 seconds instead of 5 minutes. But it really showed in high speed how long that line was and how long people were waiting to get in to vote. And there was an interesting little finish to that video. When they got to the end of the line, there was actually a pizza delivery car that pulled up and was delivering pizza to the people at the back of the line, which I thought was pretty funny. A little shout out to Pizza Hut for doing that. I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, hyperlapse, really cool time lapse, and I'll show you some examples of how we've used it coming up here in just a little bit. We'll have some time for that. Another cool app is Cardboard Camera. This is a Google app, works for both the iOS phones and for your Android phones. And this is a cool little simple 360-degree photo app. It's not a photo bubble, but it's just a 360-degree panorama type photo. You can shoot these 360 VR photos in the app and then share them over social media, or open them up in the app and put it in your phone into Google Cardboard or another viewfinder, 360 VR viewfinder. Google Cardboard's a really good one because it's affordable. It's just a few dollars. And you could put it in there and then hold it up to your head, and you get a nice 360 panorama view of the area that you just shot a photo of. Really, really quick and dirty way to do 360 VR photos and really take people there. So that's Cardboard Camera. Google Street View will also do it for you. We'll shoot 360-degree photos. You can hold the camera vertically. It gives you a little arrow that you just have to follow and shoot 360 degrees around you. And then you can share that over Google Maps. It'll geolocate it for you, which is kind of cool. Another popular app among journalists, and this is a newer one. It's called Fuse 3D, F-Y-U-S-E, Fuse 3D. Allows you to shoot 3D photos where you actually hold down the record button and you move around a stable object. A good example of this is taking Fuse and let's say you're at an art gallery and there's a statue in the middle of the room that is kind of roped off. You can hit that 360 or that little 3D record button in the Fuse app, and you can move around it maybe 180 degrees to kind of show kind of a sweeping motion around it. And it holds it pretty steady. It makes it pretty smooth as you're moving around the object. That's also true of the Hyperlapse app. It holds the video very steady when you're recording the video, even if you're on rough terrain on like a mountain bike or something like that. But the Fuse app, really good for shooting a little 3D photo around a stable object. It doesn't work quite like Bubbly where you're shooting everything around you, but instead you're moving around the object instead of you staying in one place and recording everything around you. So Fuse, F-Y-U-S-E. It is available right now in iOS. I'm told it's coming soon to Android, so do check the Google Play Store to see if Fuse has shown up there yet. If not, there's some other 360 photo apps up there that you can search in Android. Among them being Google Street View, of course. This is allows you to shoot 360-degree photos and map them, which is a nice little feature that Cardboard Camera doesn't have. And again, Google Street View, you go into Google My Maps or you go into Google Earth and you can see 360-degree photos all over in those apps. And what I've got a photo of here are the different devices Google uses to record those, both the car, bicycle. It also has little robots too that'll go around and document in hard to find areas. So you can access 360-degree photos. But the Google Street View app on your phone is kind of an oldie but a goodie. It's been around for a while, but it was one of the first good 360 photo apps out there. And Cardboard Camera, which I showed you earlier, that's only been out since I think late spring, early summer. It's still relatively new. I always get this question whenever I do the apps presentation. People always ask me, what's a good recording app if I want to record a phone call? And there are a couple of them. Tape a Call will allow you to record a phone conversation. It costs a few dollars, so I think it's still less than $5. But you got to be careful with these phone recording apps because they will charge you for storage on them. So if you get over an hour or 2 hours, depending on what their limits are, it'll begin to charge you for storage. So one of the things I do anytime I record a phone call, I always pull the audio out of the app onto my desktop. And you can do that either by plugging your phone in directly into your computer. You could also transfer it over email, several other different ways. You can do it over AirPlay even too, and just move it right over to your desktop screen, which is really nice. The Recorder app, which is a little red icon with a little yellow lightning bolt on it, that one has a little feature in it that Tape a Call doesn't have. What it does is it allows you to, or it allows the app to tell the person the minute they pick up the phone that you're calling, it tells them that the conversation is being recorded. And that's very important because in some states you can't surreptitiously tape a phone call. You have to tell the person, and I usually tell them anyway as I'm doing my greeting. Hi, this is Mike Reily. I'm recording this interview. And get their confirmation. But the Recorder app will actually do that for you the minute the person picks up the phone. So Tape a Call and the Recorder apps, good audio recording apps that will record phone conversations. Google Translate's another fun app. There are some issues with it from time to time with conjugating verbs, or sometimes it'll translate the word wrong or something. But one thing I like about the app, it has a couple features on it that the desktop version has, but doesn't do quite as well, and that's the camera feature and the audio button. I get this all the time in Chicago. I live in Chicago, and people will stop me and ask for directions, especially during the summertime. And one of the things they always ask is, how do I find the Willis Tower, the old Sears Tower? And they'll record it, they'll record it in French on their phone, and then they'll hit the English button, and it will give me a rough translation. It's not 100% accurate, but a rough translation of where is this building. And then they'll record me when I respond, and then they'll play it back to themselves in French or whatever language that they're speaking in. It'll translate, last count, 104 different languages, which is really cool. Sometimes my wife and I go out to dinner down in Chinatown in Chicago. I always pop out the Google Translate app and turn on the camera feature on Google Translate, and I'll point it at a sign that's hanging up in a storefront, because many of them are written in Chinese, and I can't read it. So that will give me a good rough translation of what the sign says. So it's good for reading street signs. If you're traveling abroad a lot and you're in a country where you don't speak the language, that audio button in that camera app can really help you survive and get to where you're going, along with Google Maps. So Google Translate, a very underrated app. And again, it does sometimes have some translation issues. The desktop version does have a suggest and edit button on it. So if it does translate the information poorly, you can definitely take it and offer a suggestion on how to translate it, and they'll work that into the database, which is really cool. But the Google Translate app, really, really good little tool. Okay. Another one I wanted to mention is JamSnap. And it is right now being rebuilt. It was crashing some of the older iPhones, like the iPhone 4s, and they had to pull it out of the App Store for a little while. It's supposed to return in March of 2017. I actually wrote to the developer. I really like the app. It'll do the same thing that Storyline does. It'll allow you to take a single photo and record audio over the top of it. And it'll put a little sound wave. You can see the little sound wave icon over it. And it's good for getting a quick headshot of somebody, kind of the person on the street interview. I've seen some how-to photos too. You can see this one here of some food that's laid out, and the narration, the sound wave, typically goes about 3-4 minutes. Is the chef telling you how to put together the recipe using the ingredients, which is really cool. And again, this app is out of the App Store right now, but it should be returning next month. So keep your eye out for it, JamSnap. It's got a lot of really cool social media features in it. And the thing I like is when you share this over Twitter or another social media account, the photo will pop up right underneath the tweet, and it has that little sound wave right on it. You just have to tap it, and it'll start playing the audio for you. So really cool little app. Again, you can't do a slideshow with it, but it's good for capturing a single photo and then layering some audio over it just by recording it right into your phone. And again, it integrates really, really well with all the social media channels. It also has a little community within the JamSnap app that'll allow you to share and comment on other people's JamSnaps. So really cool little tool. It's one to keep in mind over the course of the next month when it returns to the App Store. Just a little reminder, when you're sharing your work over social media channels, include hashtags and handles, especially on Twitter, as well as on Instagram. It helps people find your work. Make sure you have an image tied into it, and a link or some type of call to action with it as well. Share your work. That's one of the big things with the training that we're doing here. I do want to mention this tool too. I always mention, even though it's not a mobile tool, it does affect mobile performance. If you're working at a publication and you have a mobile website, which I hope you do, it's a good thing to test it out. Testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. This is a free tool that allows you to take the URL of your website and test it to see how mobile friendly it is. And not only does it grade it out on 3 different levels: mobile friendliness, mobile download time, and desktop download time, it also gives you a little free report that tells you what you need to fix on your site to help speed the load time of your mobile site. Back in the summer of 2015, Google's search changed its algorithm, so only sites that are mobile responsive or mobile optimized, mobile friendly sites, will appear on page 1 of Google search. So even if you've done everything right with SEO, if your site isn't mobile friendly, Google's going to bury it on a lower level page. So Test My Site tool is a good way to test your site to see how well you're doing. And let's put it to the test here. We'll go in and do this. Testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com, and you can test your website and see how well you do with it. So let's put in suntimes.com, Chicago Sun-Times website, and I'll click on test now. It'll take a little while, and sometimes it'll freeze up, so you just go back and try it again. But it'll process this, and it gives you some facts and data. People are 5 times more likely to leave a site if it isn't mobile friendly, if it doesn't load within 3 minutes. So here's how the Chicago Sun-Times site did. It's mobile friendly, which means it's probably a responsive website. But look at the scores for the mobile speed and the desktop speed. Not very good. But it does give you a free report here on what they can go in and fix. And these are things that you might want to share with your webmaster. As you scroll through here, it gives you, the different scores and see what to fix. And again, nearly half of all visitors will leave a mobile site if the pages don't load within 3 seconds. I think that's very important. 9 out of 10 people say they use multiple screens for multitasking, and definitely your desktop still matters as well as your mobile score. Take advantage of this site. It's kind of a long URL, testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com, and you can go in and test all kinds of different URLs. We'll try the Chicago Tribune here real quickly. See how they do. And two, if you have a mobile site that's maybe different from your desktop site, there are still a few media outlets that are doing that. They have split sites. Make sure you test your mobile site separately. There's the Tribune scores, which are a little bit better, but the mobile speed could still be a little bit better. And two, if you have an ad server on your website, oftentimes that is what's slowing down the mobile speed, because the mobile ads will often slow it down. Sometimes there's no getting around that, but sometimes there's some little fixes you can make. Maybe there's some JavaScript running in the background of your page that'll slow down the page. So you can go in and fix that. And again, they give you this little free report that tells you what you need to go in and fix. So do take some time after this seminar to go into testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com and test your website's mobile products in there and see how quickly they'll load. So that's a pretty good little tool to use. I promised you guys I'd show you a few examples of what you can do with these apps. And I'll pull them up. This is some projects I've done with my students at Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame. I teach in the Gallivan program there, in their journalism program. I do data visualization and multimedia storytelling. And this is some of the stuff that they've gone out and shot with their mobile phones. And this first one was a project a student did. She was going around with a group of students and documenting ruins, and she found this church in Gary, Indiana. Apparently people flocked from all over the country to shoot photos of this. And she was down in this abandoned church. You can see it's kind of busted out here. But she did this photo bubble and did a really fine job with it. Really shot down to her feet level. Notice how it shows her feet, but washes out the rest of her body. It kind of takes her out of the picture. But went up really high, so you could see how the roof was broken out. And this is a really good job of kind of showing, not telling, showing how the surroundings are in a certain area. Keep in mind that people in this photo are standing still. If they were moving, they may be washed out. Their legs may be cut off, or the upper body might be cut off. So it's really good for kind of a stable environment that's not, got a lot of motion in it. So keep that in mind. We used Bubbly for a fun project. We did the Waste Management Open in Phoenix, and we shot down on the 16th green, which has kind of this big stadium-style seating. And it ran with a story about how rowdy the crowds are there and how it bothers the golfers when they're trying to putt. So we captured that little 360 image standing out right at the flag, right where the hole was on the 16th hole. And it showed just how intimidating that area was, with all these people kind of hovering over you on the golf course. It gave a different perspective. Here's an example of how you can do a storyline. And this is one a reporter tweeted out. It was of a little protest they were doing outside this show called the Keenan Review. I like the kid that has the sign that says, "This is a sign." And that was the reporter narrating it. He just narrated it over his phone, and it played through a series of photos beforehand. The Keenan Review, which is this big event at Notre Dame every year, it's a big show. The students have to line up for tickets. You can see them standing here at the front of the front doorway and a line that weaves all over campus. And fortunately, they had a nice day for this. But this reporter also, and several other reporters, did a time-lapse video using hyperlapse to document how long the
Hey
line
Mike,
was.
I
So I'll
think
play that.
since you have your headphones plugged in, we might not be able to hear the audio from the video.
I'll go ahead and kill the sound there, but as you can see, this line just keeps going. And by doing the time lapse, it helps you get through the line a little bit faster than if you were looking at it in real time. It took 50 seconds, and it took him about 6 minutes to walk this line. And it just shows how long it is. It just reminds me a lot of the election day lines that people were standing in to vote. Really, really cool perspective. Some of the other apps that we use, there's another example, Bubbly, that shows you how long that line was as it weaved around campus. There's where it started at the door, and this reporter, Hannah Shearer, shot a nice 360 video photo of it in Bubbly. This student went to a track meet and did a time-lapse video of the 3,200-meter run, which is pretty cool. I mentioned the Ripple app, which is an example right here of it, the Ripple app, which animates text on the screen. Okay, pops right in there, and good for sports events or breaking news stories. If you have a good photo. Adobe Spark, which is another Adobe Spark page. This is how you can do a little slideshow in Adobe Spark page and embed it in there. She did this one on her phone, which was really cool. This is a track athlete named Rachel Rhodes from Notre Dame who'd come back from a series of injuries. And she did a little zoom in on the photos, little text page, and then embedded some video right at the end, which was cool. Again, told a nice little story in a short, tight, concise way. There were some other examples up here of some other storylines that students did. I'll tweet this link out if you want to see these examples. And I think they'd be really good, just kind of think about ways that you can tell the stories. And I'll open it up to questions now, too, if Scott, if you've got some questions coming
Yeah,
in from the
Mike,
group at
can you hear
all.
me? I want to make sure that my audio's on.
Yep,
Great. So one
I
question
hear
that
you
always
just
pops
fine.
up is, free apps versus paid apps. And a lot of these, I think you mentioned, are free, and they might have a premium model. I guess just what's your take on when it's worth paying a few dollars, and maybe what is the upper limit on what you might recommend paying for, something? Is it $5? Is it $10? Some of these can get pretty expensive.
Sure. What I always do anytime I'm thinking about buying an app is I go out and I Google it first, and I see what some of the app reviewers have written about it. I go in and look at it in the app store to see what rating it got, and I read the details about the app. And the kind of the end game for me in purchasing an app is, will it do something that I otherwise couldn't do on my phone? So I'm not just buying another video editing app or buying another recording app. What does it do for me maybe that the other apps don't? And what really separates it? It's really hard to find a good timeline storytelling tool like Storyline out there. I actually got Storyline on an offer, I think, for 99 cents. And at times, some of these apps are even free for like a month or so, and then they'll start charging for them again to kind of goose sales. They'll do that. So my bottom line is I research it a little bit and think about it. Is this an absolute necessity for me in storytelling? Is it going to do something that my other apps can't? Because there's nothing worse than going out and spending $9, $10 on an app, using it twice, and then a year later, it's just taking up space on your phone and you're deleting it off there. And I've been burned a couple times like that. I think we all have. But there's also some very helpful apps. The AP Stylebook app, which is several dollars. It's quite expensive, but the advantages with that app is you don't have to buy a new style book every year. It automatically updates, so it's really just a one-time purchase. Something to think about does this app do something for me that others won't? Here's another cool one that I don't put in the presentation, but I should mention: ConvertBot, ConvertBot, ConvertBot. It's a conversion tool, so you can take a measurement and convert it in from miles to kilometers, or anything back and forth, weights, anything. And it's really easy to use. It's got a little dial on it that makes it kind of fun to use. And again, real cheap app, good for reporting if you're calculating numbers on the fly, and maybe you don't have a calculator right in front of you. ConvertBot will do it very, very quickly and get it down to the exact number. So that's another good app. But yeah, paid apps, use discretion, research them a little bit, and then say, hey, does this, if I'm going to spend $10 on this, is it something that I can't get anywhere else?
So we talked a lot about software and apps, of course, which is the main focus here. But in general, when we're out in the field doing video and audio recording, uh, what might be a few hardware add-ons for mobile reporting that you might recommend? Maybe your top three, like, an external microphone, a fisheye lens for photo and video. What might be your things that you think everyone should have in their backpack when they go out on a scene?
Sure. That's a great question. It's a common question. Two things. One, I am tweeting out the Twitter handle for a guy by the name of Rob Montgomery. It's Rob with two B's and then Montgomery, common spelling, all one word. Follow his Twitter handle because he's sharing all the time about different types of hardware, specifically with shooting photos and video, little lenses, oleo clips, things like that you can use. Um, uh, One thing that I have in my bag all the time is some type of tripod or stabilizing tool. There's nothing worse than shaky Blair Witch Project type video. I even have one that's just a little pistol grip that you can attach your phone to the top of and shoot Steadicam, kind of moving back and forth with. And I think those pistol grips go for maybe $15-20 online. There's more expensive ones. You can spend a lot of money on stabilization tools. Another one I like to have is an iRig mic. iRig, IRIG. They make great microphones that'll plug in to your phones, and you can do a handheld a mic that retails for right around $30. And there's also clip-on mics too that you can just clip to a person's lapel when you're interviewing him. Carry a microphone. There's nothing worse. The phones have decent audio on them, but man, you're outside and the wind's blowing, and it'll just ruin the audio for you. So always have a mic with a windsock and mic people up. It's so important. There's times we've been out shooting video on projects and comes back and we've got some great footage, and man, the audio's just shot on it. We have to record a voiceover on it because the quality of the audio is poor. They didn't have the person mic'd up. And another, I think, good add-in is the Insta360 camera, which I'm holding up here, that just plugs in right into the end of your iPhone, and you can shoot 360 video and photos with, which is really, really nice. Retails for around $100. I've seen them as low. If you look around on Amazon for deals, you can get these. I've seen them as low as 175. So I think, especially with Periscope moving into the 360 video world, the Insta360, which will sync up with Periscope, would be a nice little purchase. It's a nice way to kind of introduce, for those of you teaching students, introduce them in an affordable way to 360 video. So the iRig mics, I would say, the Insta360, having some type of stabilization tool, a little pistol grip or something that you can attach the mobile device to steady it, or a little Gorilla Grip tripod And again, all these tripods and a lot of these add-ons are very affordable. You can buy them at a Walmart even or a Target, and they don't cost very much. And you can look around for deals online all the time. And there's all kinds of lists, and Rob Montgomery shares these all the time on his Twitter account. Lists of different type of mobile add-ons. Some of them are linked to off of this page, the Journals Toolbox mobile page. I have all kinds of pages up here on different types of products that you can use to steady your camera or to record better audio with. But Rob Montgomery is a really good follow on Twitter. And again, I tweeted his handle out a couple times during our presentation. And let's see if I can call him up right here. Great visual journalist, and has written a lot about. There he is. There's Rob Montgomery. And look, he's using a stabilization tool, and he's shot a lot of really cool things. And all kinds of different Mojo Twitter hashtag is a good place to look to find many of these products. And here he's just shared some of these adapters and different types of stabilizing tools, different lenses, and he's just a gold mine for stuff. Anytime I'm going to go and purchase equipment at a university I'm teaching at or someplace I'm working, I definitely go and look at his page first. Here he has photos of different kits and things and different types of lenses and stuff. The Rode mics are really good too. RODE, they make really good mics. There's some of his clip-on and shotgun mics. But you can assemble a kit like this relatively cheaply and quickly, which is really, really
So
nice.
I think this will be, yes,
Any
this
other
will be our last
questions?
question, and it's a good one to end on, I think, because maybe it's controversial, but or maybe I just think it's controversial, but and I know attitudes are evolving on vertical versus horizontal video, but here we go. I'm gonna frame it in a certain way. Vertical video, bad idea or worst idea ever?
Oh boy, I love that question. I get that one in classes and in presentations all the time. Personally, I hate vertical video with the power of 1,000 suns. It looks really bad in a horizontal player. It's skinny video. However, I think with Periscope and with some of these other apps that are out there, vertical video has found some uses. While I'm not wild about it, I mean, if you're just recording on your phone, hold it horizontal. If you're just recording the video and you're going to move it into YouTube or something, hold it horizontal. It just puts it in landscape mode. It looks nice, and you'll really be able to capture a wider swath of what's in front of you. And it looks better, once you load it into those video players. However, if you're working in an app that allows you to do vertical video, Instagram will do that. A few of the others that I mentioned earlier, Periscope, that's fine. But just keep in mind, if you embed that player then into a web page, you're probably going to be seeing skinny vertical video, or if you're going to move that video over into YouTube for some reason. So I'm not a huge fan of vertical video, but I've warmed up to it a little bit more, especially since some of these apps have started making it a little more useful. But a good question, very good
Absolutely.
question. I get that
Well,
one a
thank you
lot.
very much, Mike. This has been very informative hour. And again, we will be emailing everyone with all the info that he talked about, a link to the presentation, so you don't have to memorize everything. Want to thank Mike for his time here, and we will be sending you information if you like this webinar about the next webinar Mike will be presenting in March. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here, and we hope to see you again in the future on another webinar or maybe in person at one of our trainings. Thanks very much, Mike.